Somebody in the Austin community reached out to me to suggest that Elon had more children than the public had previously realized, and that this actually might be part of sort of a wider project. And in the end, it's turned out to be a wider project to save the world. They believe it's their responsibility, actually, to give as much of themselves as possible to the rest of planet Earth. And yeah, you know, there's some ego involved in that point of view, for sure.
So the problem is Elon Musk is having too many kids? What do we think of Elon Musk? Probably not the real problem. Dr. Carmen Messerlian is a professor of reproductive epidemiology at Harvard. She joins us tonight. Professor, thank you so much for coming on. These numbers seem to people like me who don't really understand the science behind them kind of shocking. Are you shocked by them? What do they mean, and what's the cause, do you think?
Well, I'm not shocked by them because it's what I teach in my classroom, and I had I talk about sperm and about eggs and how we mate and reproduce and make babies, and the numbers are not shocking. We know that we live in a very complex environment where our environment is hostile and toxic to reproductive health, and this has to do with the products that we're exposed to, the environment that we're exposed to every single day. Men's sperm is in decline, and we've been witnessing this as scientists for quite a long time.
So you're stating this as fact. You teach it. Products that we use, chemicals in the air, water, and ground, are making men, will ultimately make them unable to reproduce. Why isn't anyone doing anything about that?
Well, I'm not suggesting not able to reproduce. Men produce 125 million sperm per ejaculate on average. So, you know, we have to consider the clinical implications of that is that you still have a lot of sperm in each ejaculate, and it only takes one sperm to have a baby, as you may or may not know. And so, so the declines, we can't really suggest the clinical significance of that. We do know that the concentration and count of sperm has gone down. We know that the environment plays a big role in that. That's the number one role. It's not related to genetics. Genetics doesn't change in 50 years, but the environment has changed. And what we've seen is men have gotten fatter. They've gotten unhealthier. Men's health is in general decline, and as a result of that, we see measures of that in sperm. But we also see changes in men's testosterone levels. We see changes in men's sexual performance, in how they their moods, their energy, their rates of depression have gone up. And this is bad for women too, because heterosexual women want men to be healthy and happy, and women want to be satisfied sexually. And if men if their health is in peril, then our health is in peril too, which is really important for the kind of work that I do.
Everything you've said as a non-scientist seems inarguable and like common sense and rooted in a pro-human worldview, which I appreciate. But just I'm going to ask you one more time, do you think this is getting enough coverage? It seems like a huge deal.
No, I don't think it's getting enough coverage at all. And I think the part that's not getting enough coverage is the part related to how our environment is impacting our reproductive health and our evolutionary reproductive capacity. And this has to do with both men and women. And so what are we talking about? We're talking about the food we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink. Our environment is having a huge impact on our reproductive capacity, and men are getting fatter. We know that, for example, high-fat diets result in decreased testosterone levels as well as decreased sperm production. So there's a lot of factors that play a part in this. Diet is a big one. The environment's another big one. Lifestyle factors, smoking, alcohol consumption, marijuana use. All of these things have an important impact on the results that we're seeing now in this big meta-analysis that you commented on. So a lot of factors have contributed to this. It's not one particular thing, but there's a lot of things men can do. We have an impact on our environment. We make choices every day, lifestyle choices, behavioral choices. Men have choice to change their diet, decrease their smoking, exercise, lose weight, choose healthier products in their day-to-day environment. Personal care products have a huge burden of chemicals that I study related to things like phthalates and phenols. BPA, for example, and DEHP are two chemical classes that we know harm men and harm male reproduction. They're anti-androgenic and estrogenic, and we see these results coming out now in big studies that tell us that men's sperm's going down, and we've been looking at this from an environmental reproductive point of view for quite some time, and
I hope a lot of people hear what you just said and take it seriously, and I appreciate your coming on tonight. Professor Messerlian from Harvard, thank you.
Thank you.
So there have always been rats in New York City, big rats, big Norway rats, giant rats, kind of rats that might eat you, but now there are more rats than ever. So